Welcome to the inaugural episode of All Eyes on DC. This is a show where we bridge the gap in Washington, D.C., one interview at a time. Please be guaranteed that the guests you will see on the show live and work in the district, and you will learn much about what happens in the district through them. Today's guest is Darla Bunting. I'm very honored to have her here on the show today. She is an executive board member of First Book DC, a nonprofit organization geared towards increasing literacy among young children. Today we talk about it all: DC public schools, childhood literacy, and everything in between. Darla, welcome to our inaugural episode. Very nice to have you.
Thank you for having me, Sam.
Very nice.
It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you very much. Likewise. First question, please tell us about First Read DC.
First Book DC was reestablished in August of 2011. First Book is actually a national organization that has over 150 local advisory boards all across the country. I fell in love with the mission of First Book and the work that we did in New Orleans, because as a teacher, I understand how crucial it is that teachers have an ongoing supply of high quality books. So basically, teachers and nonprofit organizations, they apply for book grants to give to their students for a variety of different projects, whether it's small groups in reading, shared reading, which is the entire class. It could be used as an investment system to, increase parental engagement and to hopefully increase the number of books that make it from the school to the home.
So in your experiences, how would you say children reacted to receiving a book for the first time and actually reading? We hear a lot of things about today's kids not wanting to read or just being vegetables in front of the TV. Please tell us more about that.
I can attest to the fact that kids love books. And if teachers are excited about reading and if they're exposing them to high quality books that are really engaging to them, they're going to want to read them. And basically, as a teacher, it's my job to develop their love of reading. One particular book that they loved is Because of Winn-Dixie. And I really had to get into the characters and use different voices, use props, get really excited about reading to show them and model for them how they should read. And it's just a great feeling when you see that the kids are actually loving and enjoying what they're reading. But if you're a teacher and you're sitting there and you're reading in a monotone voice, kids aren't going to like that. Adults aren't going to like that. But if you read the book with a proper tone and you pretend that you're the characters and you bring the story alive, that's when kids actually like to read.
When you leave the schoolhouse and you go home, you have TV, you have Xbox, you have sleep. How do we get our kids to continue reading when they get home?
We have to make sure that that we're increasing the number of books in the home, and that's one reason why I really like First Book, because that's what our mission is, to ensure that the books go home with the child. And there are so many different ways that children can read. And I feel as though tapping into technology is going to be crucial in this new generation. We were the internet, we started off, with American Online, and we know more about technology than our parents. And the kids coming behind us are going to know a lot more about technology than we are. And if we can tap into, the iPads and the e-readers and exposing them to different phone apps, literacy phone apps. I know starfall.com has great literacy apps, and if we can tap into technology, I feel as though that's where the new wave of reading is going to go.
What has been the reaction of parents, especially parents that may not read as much or may not talk to their children about reading? How do they feel about this program?
You will notice that parents are really excited when their kids are excited. If you give a parent a reason to be invested in their child's education, they're going to want to be invested, because their kid, number one, is just going to keep coming home and telling them all these stories about what's happening in class. And parents want to see that, because often they attended a school where they just weren't invested. And a lot of parents have lost faith in our education system, and our students can serve as ambassadors to what's happening in the school. And if teachers really know how to really invest students, they're going to have a positive reaction from those parents.
This is a perfect segue into another topic that I've been very curious about, education in D.C. And there's been a tug of war between public schools and charter schools.
Right.
If I'm a parent and I want the best education for my child,
Right.
does it matter which school it goes to, which school my child goes to, as long as that school provides the best education, or should I just stick with DCPS and hope that Kaya Henderson and company pulls through?
I think at the end of the day, the parent has to make the best decision for their child. However, I feel as though there are pros and cons to both the traditional public school system and the charter school, the different charter school networks or schools. I feel as though there are definitely great, high quality public schools that do not make that are not in the media's attention. I feel as though there are great charter schools that get a ton of media support, and they do have really great results, but there are also charter schools that aren't doing as well. And on average, charters are doing just as well as traditional public schools, but the narrative is that charter schools are better. The public should not turn away from public schools, the traditional public school system. There are a lot of resources in being part of a large school district.
So at what point do we stop laying the blame on teachers and schools and actually delve into the part that parents and the community plays? I know of plenty of kids in DC public schools who went to the worst schools.
Right.
And they came out, got scholarships, went on to do big things.
Right.
So where do parents fall into the equation?
It's up to the schools to really get the parents reinvested. The Flamboyant Foundation is partnering with DC Public Schools to bring home visits and academic parent-teacher team meetings to our schools. I remember going on home visits with my fellow co-teacher, and we just really got to know our parents and our children's circumstances so much more, and it really gave us a deeper perspective into their home life. It also helped us bridge the gap between the school and the neighborhood. And that's crucial because when I would walk around the neighborhoods and I would say that I taught at Stanton, they would say, oh, okay, yes, I remember a couple days ago a teacher came to, our apartment complex and was looking for such and such parent. And it starts to bridge the gap, and people in the community start to see the teachers in the community, and it really creates a partnership.
By the time a child's 2 or 3 years old, they probably wouldn't have even interacted with you in the classroom.
Right.
They're at home. How do we get parents to start reading with their kids at a young age?
I think it really starts with helping parents to understand that children at a young age, they're filters. They're sponges. They take in everything in their surroundings, and it's really important that when you understand that, you know how important it is that you are increasing, number one, their vocabulary, so that you're talking to them in a way that is going to help them to be successful in a school.
We have a lot of parents, young and old parents, who are watching this show, and if you can just show them what books they should look out for if they want to teach their children how to read.
All right. So I bought 2 books from one of my favorite authors. He's really popular. Who doesn't know Dr. Seuss?
Exactly.
This is a Dr. Seuss beginner book, Green Eggs and Ham, and this is a great book to teach children how to read because it has a lot of repetition and a lot of rhyming words. We look here.
Sam I Am.
Sam I Am. It has a lot of repetition and a lot of rhyming words. Oh, The Places You'll Go is actually my personal favorite children's book. I really love the fact that it talks about where you can go in this world. And oftentimes, children from low-income communities are not exposed to what's out there in their world. And this book has such great themes in it, and it can really empower children to look beyond their neighborhoods and beyond their circumstances to really go on their life's journey.
So ladies and gentlemen, that's what it all takes. If you want to volunteer, you want to help DC's children, you know the person to ask. Darla Bunting, everyone, executive board member of First Book DC. You can follow her on Twitter. Her Twitter handle is @Darla Bunting. Darla, thank you so much for coming with us on the show.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure. I love talking about education.